H-Town, stand up. The front office just dropped a massive bombshell on the roster. We are talking about a sudden cut that sends a very loud message to the entire defensive trench. The defensive line room is getting absolutely realigned right before our eyes. You will not believe who just got his bags packed to make room for a brand new weapon. Before I expose this wild roster update, smash that like button right now. If you bleed deep steel blue, you must subscribe to the channel today so you never miss any breaking news. Texans fans, we're kicking off with roster news highlighting professional football's demanding nature. The Houston Texans have waived defensive lineman Junior Tafuna, a decision following the signing of wide receiver Montrell Washington. Tafuna, a 6'3", 305-pound undrafted 2025 Utah player, hadn't recorded an NFL stat. He'd been with our team since January on a futures contract, working diligently through OTAs, minicamp, and early training camp. Jonathan M. Alexander reported this August 5, 2026, confirming Tafuna's release made room for Washington, expected to bolster wide receiver depth and special teams. This move just weeks before cutdown day is tough for young players and invested fans. As Houston Texans fans, it's always hard to see someone go, but think about it this way. This decision strongly suggests our coaching staff feels incredibly confident about the defensive tackle room. With 7 players battling, including locks like Tommy Togiai, Sheldon Rankins, plus dark horses Naquan Jones, Keontae Hamilton, and the recent return of veteran Mario Edwards Jr., our depth is undeniable. Tafuna, despite his upside, wasn't a necessity, especially with Edwards back. So, while we welcome Washington, the bigger question: who among our robust defensive tackle group will ultimately secure a 53-man roster spot? And what does that intense competition mean for their roles once the season arrives? Ultimately, this intense battle will elevate the entire unit, fostering a deep rotation that keeps everyone fresh. Coaches will prioritize consistent impact, technique, and adaptability. This competition isn't just for a spot, it's about defining roles within a formidable defensive front. Expect tough decisions, but the end result should be a stronger, more resilient interior line dominating all season. The Houston Texans' decision to waive defensive lineman Junior Tafuna, hot on the heels of signing wide receiver Montrell Washington, reveals a profound confidence from DeMeco Ryans and the front office in their existing defensive tackle room. Tafuna, a 6'3", 305-pound undrafted free agent from the 2025 NFL Draft out of Utah, had been with this team since January on a futures contract, participating in OTAs, minicamp, and the start of training camp, yet had never recorded a stat in an NFL game. His release was less about his individual performance and more a strategic move to create roster flexibility, allowing the Texans to bring in Washington for added competition at wide receiver and on special teams. Here is where it gets interesting. The Texans' 90-man roster currently lists 7 defensive tackles. With virtual locks like Tommy Togiai, Caden McDonald, and Sheldon Rankins already firmly in place, and intriguing dark horses such as Naquan Jones signed at the end of the 2025 season, alongside Keontae Hamilton, a day 3 pick from 2024, the competition is fierce. The return of Mario Edwards further solidifies this depth. After being released with a failed physical earlier, he signed a new deal, reclaiming his veteran role. The front office's clear perspective is that they possess ample talent at defensive tackle, making a developmental player like Tafuna, despite any potential upside, expendable when balancing the roster. This mirrors past decisions where late-round picks or UDFAs are moved for immediate impact players, a testament to Ryans' focus on versatile depth as cutdown day approaches. We, as Houston Texans fans, can see this team is meticulously building, leaving no stone unturned in the pursuit of the best 53. Alright, so we've covered the what, but now let's dive into the why and the how, because this seemingly minor roster adjustment carries more weight than meets the eye. This move, bringing in Montrell Washington and waiving Junior Tafuna, matters right now because it's a clear signal from our coaching staff and general manager about where this team is solidifying its roster strengths as we push toward the regular season. For us as Houston Texans fans, it shows a team that is already refining its identity and prioritizing specific needs. Immediately, the roster sees Washington adding competition at wide receiver and, crucially, to the special teams unit, which often goes overlooked but is vital for field position in every game. Tafuna's departure, especially after Mario Edwards Jr.'s return, tightens up an already confident defensive tackle room, signaling that players like Tommy Togiai, Caden McDonald, and Sheldon Rankins are indeed the core, with Naquan Jones, Keontae Hamilton, and Edwards fighting for key depth roles. Looking ahead to our upcoming games, a strong, deep defensive tackle rotation means we expect to control the line of scrimmage, stifling opposing run games, and creating interior pressure, which will be essential against stout offenses in the AFC. A robust special teams unit with Washington could swing critical field position in close matchups, giving our offense a better starting point. And that changes everything when considering our standing against division rivals and our playoff chances. This confidence in our defensive front sends a message to the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans that our trenches will be formidable. This recent roster adjustment, swapping defensive lineman Junior Tafuna for wide receiver Montrell Washington, clearly signals the Texans' confidence in their interior defensive line and their focus on strengthening special teams. The strongest argument for this move is that our defensive tackle room is already quite robust. We have established players like Tommy Togiai, Caden McDonald, and Sheldon Rankins who are virtually guaranteed spots, alongside promising talent such as Naquan Jones and Keontae Hamilton. With Mario Edwards also rejoining the team and looking to reclaim his depth role, the competition is fierce. Therefore, prioritizing a specialist like Washington, who offers immediate value in the return game and provides more competition at wide receiver, makes practical sense for the 90-man roster. However, the counter-argument lies in the loss of Tafuna's intriguing upside. While he was a futures contract player without NFL stats, every team hopes to develop such talents into contributors. Releasing him means foregoing that potential, which could be a risk if injuries were to strike the defensive line, or if some of the projected depth pieces don't pan out. As Houston Texans fans, we know how quickly depth can be tested during a long season. From the outside, Jonathan M. Alexander, reporting on the team, highlights how this move underscores Houston's current confidence in their defensive tackle group. He specifically names Tommy Togiai, Caden McDonald, and Sheldon Rankins as significant players, and points to Naquan Jones and Keontae Hamilton as compelling dark horses who will compete for roster spots, all before even factoring in Mario Edwards' return. The general sentiment appears to be that the Texans believe they have enough quality and quantity at the position. When you look at the simultaneous arrival of Montrell Washington and the departure of Junior Tafuna, what truly emerges is a clear picture of the Houston Texans' strategic focus and confidence heading into the crucial months ahead. This move signifies that our coaching staff and front office are not just building a roster for this year, but meticulously crafting a sustained winner for the next few seasons, prioritizing depth and competition where it matters most. As Houston Texans fans, we should feel genuinely optimistic and assured by this decision. It speaks to a disciplined organization that isn't afraid to make tough